really want to talk about something that is now, in my opinion, quite essential, which I've never really promoted much in the past. I never really used to like it. And now I've come to the kind of idea with recent changes in the game that it's kind of pretty essential now in terms of form and content. And the thing I'm talking about is the Vateshran Void Bash set. So, the Void Bash set. When you deal damage with Power Bash, you apply Call of the Void to yourself for 2 seconds. Enemies within 12 meters are immediately pulled to you. So, in the past, I never used to really rate this set or like it very much. And the reason why was simply because using chains, especially on a Dragon Knight, using Unrelenting Grip was, in my opinion, better. Because you could guarantee you could chain everything in. And you also had it costing Magicka. You also had the fact that everything was soft taunted. You had the fact that everything could just... It was just nice and easy to use. And I didn't really see the need to use it. It was more of a, this is good for beginners, is the way I kind of viewed this particular set. Now, what's changed in the game, as I've been banging on about for the last 2 weeks now or so, is Unrelenting Grip and Silver Leash no longer cause a 2-second soft aggro. So they used to have the Fiery Grip or the Fiery Reach taunt that was a 2-second soft taunt that would apply to enemies when you chained them. And so that made it really strong to chain enemies and then root them down. And now that has been taken out of the game and is not going to return. That is the word from the creative director. He said that they removed it because it was causing bugs, which it was. It was causing bugs in the game. But instead of fixing it, they've just completely removed it. And going into content after that and trying to do the same tanking that I was doing before with chains and talons and pull and root, hold everything in place, that does not work anymore. So I'm finding it very difficult to still tank doing the same things that I was doing before. It just doesn't work. So what I decided was I was going to get my Vateshran Void Bash set back out. I recrafted it. And I started using it. And to start with, I would say using it kind of unsuccessfully because I was still trying to figure out how I can maximize the use of this set. And one of the things I've realized is it's a very, very strong set, but you have to use it quite intelligently. Like if you just run into an ad pull and you Void Bash, that's not going to be very good. So you have to really kind of think about what you're doing. I'm going to give a quick demo in a minute, but what I just want to say about that is, like, it is strong. You still need to slot a chain skill. That's the only annoying thing, because 12 meters isn't big enough. If this would have been 15 to 18 meters, it would have been super, super strong. However, that would have probably had a detrimental impact in PvP, and so 12 meters is probably where it's always going to stay. One of the other parts to this skill is it also applies Major Maim. Now, the Major Maim is not the reason why you use it. You wouldn't use this for Major Maim because you can just as easily get Major Maim from other sources. From monster sets, from different things. One of the main sources of Major Maim now is using Frost Clench. So Frost Clench, it's really cheap. It applies Major Maim. So you can get 100% uptime just by hitting Destructive Clench over and over again. So you don't use it for the Major Maim. If you want a Major Maim stuff, then that's fine. Ads don't usually require Major Maim. They don't hit hard enough. Ads that can be chained and pulled with Void Bash don't need to be Major Maim because they're kind of weak ads. But in a dungeon situation, you want to get everything stacked quickly. You want it burnt down quickly. And obviously, the better your group is, the more damage they've got, the better Void Bash is because you can just pull everything in and it's dead. If you're less experienced, you've got to work a little bit harder to get everything working properly. It's a bit more difficult if you're not in a group with good damage. Because what happens is you pull the enemies in, and because there's no soft aggro anymore, there's no, like, the Vateshran Void Bash set never caused soft aggro in the first place. And that was always my problem, is everything just runs away. So you pull it in and it runs off. So I've kind of been trying to figure out ways that how can we utilize this set to work efficiently for dungeon content. How can we get it that it works really, really well? So I'm going to give a quick demo of how you're going to use this set now. This is an essential tank set for dungeon content in my opinion. Right, so this, obviously, there's no one else here, so this is going to look a bit better than it actually is, because everything's just going to be aggroed to me because I'm the only person here. However, what I want you to understand is how I'm going to change stuff in. Right, okay. So obviously, we're in the dungeon. I'm going to show you now how to utilize the Void Bash set. So the trick is to kind of plan which enemy you're going to use Void Bash on. So in this example here, we've got a wide spread of ads. If you look, they're everywhere. They're all even around the corner over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to target Void Bash onto the Necromancer because that's the most central ad. So you've got to think a bit about your ad pulls now. Like before, you could just run in and chains, spam chains, talons, done. The way we're going to do ad pulls now is you figure out where you're going to throw your Void Bash. So I'm going to focus it on this ad. Okay? The first thing I'm going to do is light attack, caltrops, Void Bash, then taunt. That is the process for doing this. And here we go. So I'll just quickly show you. So now I'm going to light attack. I'm going to throw caltrops in front of the ads to slow them down. And then I run through and I Void Bash this ad because that's the most central ad. And now everything has been pulled in. And then once you've got everything chained, make sure you refresh your caltrops. You run around and taunt. This is obviously really, really annoying now to a certain point because now you have got to use lots and lots and lots and lots of resources taunting everything. Whereas before you could do a dungeon and never actually really taunt anything. You could just you didn't have to taunt anything. You could just run in and it was all good because there was no need to worry about a taunt. Everything would get pulled in. And then you could just leave it at that. You could just pull everything in. It'd be aggroed. And then you could spam chains on enemies to taunt them for basically for free. Same thing again. Look at how the ads are spread out. There's ads up there. There's ads over there. I'm going to target my Void Bash on this ad here. Whenever you run into an ad pull, you want to throw down caltrops. The reason I'm using caltrops now is because I can use it from range. I can use caltrops from range. So, and it also procs PA. So it's a 2 birds, 1 stone. I can light attack. That aggroes. You throw caltrops down. That causes a PA buff on my group. And it snares everything that's walking towards me. Because that's really, really important. I don't want the ads to run through to my group. But I don't have like a ranged, like a CC skill. I can't use choking talons from range. So I can't root these enemies in place over there. So if I throw a caltrops and then I run onto my caltrops and I pull everything onto my caltrops, everything gets snared. Making it really easy for me to go around and taunt everything. So a snare now seems kind of more important than an actual crowd control skill. And this is a good thing for all classes of tank because it means that all classes can replicate this exact same thing. Because before, if you were using Silver Leash, you were using Turn Evil and things like that. That was really expensive. Sometimes it didn't work because you can't chain and then fear. In using this kind of setup and this kind of way of tanking, this method of tanking, you can actually you can snare everything, pull everything in, and it's cost you no resources. So everyone has the exact same level playing field now from the tank perspective. So as I say, look, we've got ads all up the side there and all over the side there. So we're going to run in, we're going to throw caltrops just in front of the ads after a light attack to proc PA, because you can't PA, you can't pre-cast PA. You have to wait till you're in combat. So you don't want to like cast caltrops as your first skill. You want to activate combat, then caltrops to get PA on your group. So when they run into the ad pull, they're already doing the buffed up damage. So let's do an example here. So light attack, caltrops right in front of them, and then we're running through, and then we're spinning around, look, because we want to be close to everything, and then we're pulling it all in. Now there is an ad over there, but that doesn't run until late. So now we would have to chain in this one straggler, and then everything's stacked. You have to keep your caltrops down to keep everything snared, and then if you need to, you just go around and taunt everything. You have to go around and taunt all the ads. You could refresh your Void Bash if you wanted to, but like that is literally the way of stacking it. If you saw then, if you watched, like, I'm going to die, I'm going to intentionally die here so I can do this again. You don't just run in and Void Bash straight away. Did you see how I curved around the other side of the ad so that I could make sure I pulled in the ads from behind the other ad? That is really important. You've got to be really intelligent with how you do it. So I ran in and I stood this side of the ad and then I bashed it. So that was critical for getting all the ads in. And you'll notice in other dungeons, I can show, I'll put some clips on the screen after of me doing the same thing in other dungeons. But if you watch again, so it's a light attack, a caltrops, run to the ad that I've highlighted there, hit it with the Void Bash, pull everything in, and then you just taunt everything. So we'll go light attack, caltrops, run in. This ad's too close now. These ads aren't going to get chained because they're further than 12 meters. So I turn around and then I walk behind that, and then I chain the last one in, and then I go to town on the taunt. So that is, and also putting down, if you've got caltrops down, and then you put down your blockade once everything's stacked, sometimes that'll immobilize stuff as well. So you'll have an immobilize, you'll have a snare, you're pulling everything in with Void Bash. See how that was running off there? Pulled straight back in. Easy. So I'm using the Void Bash set, I'm using the same thing. I don't know how this is going to look, but so this is in Unhallowed Grave. But you're going to see me do the same thing as what I've just explained. So I'll go in, I target like a very centralized ad. I don't just run in and boom, Void Bash the first one. I look for the perfect ad, I run in, I spin around the other side to make sure I get the ads behind as well. Because whenever you run into an ad pull, there's always the melee ads at the front and the ranged ads at the back. If you run in and Void Bash, you're going to be too far away from the back ads. You've got to spin around the middle ad. Chain everything in from the back side. So here we go. There you go. I'm looking at the ads, look. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go for that one. I'm going to throw my caltrops right in the center. And then I'm kind of waiting a second. Did you see that? I kind of waited a second until that ad was a little bit central. And then I hit it. There's one ad missing over at the side there. But like that hasn't even spawned in the room at that point, which is why that wasn't chained in. So now I've got a couple of stragglers. There's a straggler. Chain it in. Chain it in. And it's a good ad pull. And that is kind of the same thing in all dungeons. Like, you just focus a centralized ad, and make sure you pull in the ranged ads as well. But the only way to do that is to circle around the ad. You don't rush to use Void Bash, because once you use it, it's on a massive cooldown, and then you can't proc it again, and you've got to wait a really long time. So then you don't have the opportunity to do it. You've then got to start chaining. You've then got to start using other skills. So we go another ad pull, same thing again. This is in a vet dungeon. So as you can see, ad spawns in. That's the most central ad. Look. That's the most centralized ad. So I'm going to light attack. I taunted it. I didn't caltrops. I don't know why. Caltrops is there. Spin around the ad to make sure I get the back ads. Void Bash. Everything's in. So we've gone through the process again. And we've managed to pull everything in. More ads drop down. But whatever. So hopefully this is kind of showing you how to best utilize Void Bash. Even when you've got ads that are a little bit more than 12 meters away, you can kind of abuse the situation to your advantage. Abuse it? Not really abuse it. You can utilize the situation to your advantage to make sure ads are slowed down, brought in. You move around, you get a little bit closer to the ads, and then you hit them with the pull. So again, this is a little bit of a bigger ad pull, but the same process again. So we're going in. Ads kind of spread everywhere. Look, we're looking where are we going to go? Not that one. Not that one. There we go. We're going for that one. Light attack. Light attack. Caltrops. And then there's ads that have ran off. The ads have ran off behind me. So I'm thinking the ads have run into my group. Let me chain them in because I don't need to go around the other side of the ad this time because that ad's close. So I'm pulling them in from behind me by chaining it from the front. So like you do have to just look at the situation. You've got to be paying attention and you've got to pull things in. Now the most difficult part about using this particular gear set is the fact you need to do Vateshran Hollows, the Solo Arena. Now, that might sound like a bad thing. However, the reason that I have the Vateshran Void Bash set is because I have done Vateshran Hollows on normal with my Accolade tank build. So if you need a tank build to get through it, check out the Accolade tank build. That is designed for tanking with the idea that you utilize damage in mind. It's a selfish kind of tank build that provides some group utility and it does damage. And you can use it in places like normal Vateshran to get this particular set, to get through this content, to achieve what you need to achieve, to get it. Because it's important to get this. And not everybody has damage dealers. I play on PC now. I don't have a single damage dealer character. I've got 6 tanks on PCU, 2 tanks on PCNA. I used to play as a damage dealer on Xbox, but I don't have a damage dealer character or damage gear on PC. So my only option is to have a tank build that can do damage, and that is what the Accolade build does. So have a look for that. It's on YouTube. You can find it on my website as well. So if you need a kind of an idea for a damage build, then take a look at that. Like I say, I was never a big fan, and I have never really advertised this build. This particular piece of gear because I didn't like it, and I didn't like advertising people to use it because you could just change stuff in. What's the point in using a 2-piece gear set when you can just change stuff? But I did give people the option in my dungeon builds. I was always like, you can use it. If you need it, use it, because it's still decent, but I just don't rate it high enough to say this is absolutely needed. But now this has changed, and I do say that now, that it's absolutely, in my opinion, really, really important if you want to do well at dungeon tanking or arenas. Just bear in mind that if you use this in Black Rose Prison, it does have some issues because it will chain in the bull netches, you know, the ones that cause the poison bomb that kills you really, really quickly. Don't use the Void Bash set in those arenas because it will pull those in and it will kill you. But yeah. So that's kind of my review of the Void Bash set, guys. That is how to utilize it. That is how to get through it. If I was going to give it a kind of a rating out of 5, just because of the changes in the game to chains, Unrelenting Grip, Silver Leash, no longer cause a soft taunt on an enemy when you use them. So now Vateshran Void Bash set, I think it's like a 4 out of 5 set, maybe a 4.5, because in terms of once you know how to use it and once you can pull everything in and nothing's really out of range, like there's the odd time where one thing will be out of range, but if you use it intelligently and you position yourself by targeting the middle ad, spinning your position around to target the ads that are far away, and then activating it, it's a very, very good set. And it makes your life very easy. It means you can snare things, you can immobilize things, you can CC, do whatever you need to do. And it works very, very well. So this is a very good set for dungeons and arenas. For trials, it's not really necessary. There's never really ad pulls in trials that are the small ads. Because this doesn't work on elite or boss enemies. You can't chain elite enemies, you can't chain boss enemies. So this set does not work in trials because most enemies in those instances are elite and boss enemies. So this won't work for those. It only works on the small ads, like dungeon ads, the normal health bar ads. Those are the ones you're looking for. So give it a go. If you struggle to get through Vateshran, maybe we'll post a little video at some point of how to do it as a tank and get through it, just so you can get this set. But there you go. That is the Vateshran Void Bash set.